Who knew that installing a hot tub on my own property would turn me into public enemy number one? Seriously, I thought I was just a guy trying to enjoy a little peace and quiet out on my land. But apparently Darla Wexley, the infamous HOA chairwoman of North Haven Heights, had other ideas. You'd think someone tried to dump toxic waste, not just put in a hot tub the way she lost her mind, clipboard in hand, fur coat blowing behind her, like she was leading a parade of angry Karens. What happened next, though? Well, let's just say Darla's crusade didn't end the way she thought. In fact, by the time the dust settled, she'd handed me the keys to her own house, and now the North Haven Sauna Collective is open for free to the entire community. Yeah, you heard that right. So if you're curious how a hot tub war turned into a sauna revolution, stick around because you're not going to want to miss this. Let me back up a sec. This whole mess started the week I closed on my aunt's old 20-acre ranch out here in North Haven County, Minnesota. Nothing fancy, just a beat-up barn, a leaning wooden cabin, a whole lot of pines, and a view that stretched further than my old city apartment lease agreements. After 2 decades in the city cubicle life, client calls at midnight, walls closing in on me day by day. I was starving for space, for quiet, for something that felt like mine. My heating and sauna business had paid the bills, but man, it was a grind, and I'd forgotten what it was like to breathe without 1,000 strangers right up against me. So this land, this place, it was my escape hatch, my own patch of dirt where I could build tinker and maybe remember who I was before I became just another face in a crowd. The first thing I wanted to do was field test my new 6-person hot tub, one of those high-powered beauties designed to work in sub-zero Minnesota winters. And December seemed perfect for a little cold weather experiment. So there I am, Tuesday morning, temperature barely above freezing, 2 of my guys helping install this beast of a tub right in front of the cabin. Steam's just starting to drift up into the cold air, snowflakes swirling down like we're inside a snow globe when I hear the sound that will haunt me for months, a car door slamming loud and angry out by the road. I look up and here comes Darla, her red coat so bright it hurts your eyes, striding across my field like she's got a deed to the land in her pocket. She doesn't bother with hello, not even a fake smile, just starts right in. Do you have permits for this installation? Clipboard clutched so hard her knuckles turn white. This is a violation of community aesthetic standards, she snaps, waving this yellowed old paper at me like it's the 10 Commandments. I'm still holding my wrench, baffled, and I can't help but ask, are you playing cop, or is this some sort of snow fairy gig? Yeah, maybe not my smartest move. She throws the paper down in the snow. 1994 HOA rules, coffee stains the works, and starts on this lecture about visual pollution and community standards, as if my little hot tub is single-handedly tanking property values from here to Duluth. I try to explain calmly that my ranch is outside the HOA, I've got the deed, the county lines, all the proof, but Darla, she doesn't care about boundaries, she cares about power. I don't care about your paperwork. The community has a right to protection. That's when I realized this wasn't just a grumpy neighbor. This was someone who'd made controlling other people her life's work. I should have seen the red flags, but honestly I figured she'd rant a bit, storm off, and that'd be the end. I couldn't have been more wrong. That night as the snow piled up, I soaked in that new hot tub steam rising against the dark, thinking I'd won. But the next morning at 6 a.m., flashing red and blue lights wake me from a dead sleep. The sheriff parked at the end of my drive, Darla out there in her red coat, pointing at my hot tub like it's a crime scene. Turns out she'd reported me for a noise violation. Sheriff Mitch, tired eyes and all, comes up with a decibel meter, stands next to the tub, listens to the faint hum, and shakes his head. Quietest hot tub I've ever heard, he mutters. That should have been the end, but Darla had only just begun. By Wednesday, it's a complaint about steam pollution. Mitch comes out with an environmental testing kit, looks at the rising mist, says, "Sir, this is just water vapor." Thursday, it's lack of protective barriers. Friday, interference with community Wi-Fi signals. Saturday, suspicious nighttime activity with unusual lighting. By Sunday, she's accusing me of illegal commercial activity. I started keeping a log on my cabin window, the hot tub crime map, listing every offense Darla called in. My nearest neighbor, old Mr. Jenkins, drove over just to laugh at it. But here's the thing, each complaint got more desperate, more ridiculous. Darla wasn't just persistent, she was obsessed. Sheriff Mitch and I developed a weird sort of rhythm. He'd show up, check the tub, confirm nothing illegal was happening. Then we'd chat about hockey or fishing or, ironically, the tech specs of my hydrotherapy jets. He even told me about Darla's past, fired from the county health department for budget shenanigans, then crowned herself queen of the HOA. Keeps her busy. He shrugged. Turns out this was her pattern pick. A target harassed them till they caved or moved away. But I wasn't going anywhere. And the crazier her complaints got, the more amused I became. What is she going to claim the tub attracts steam-loving bears next? Meanwhile, the community started noticing. I did a free radiant heating install for the Thompsons down on Maple Road. They'd been freezing all winter, and I figured I'd help them out. While I was there, neighbors stopped by Mrs. Jenkins with Cookies Robert with the sunflowers, the young woman with the blue door. Every single person had a Darla story, from Christmas light citations to grass height fines to door color violations. And every one of them was tired of living under her thumb, afraid to speak up because she knew people at the county, but those days were over and the only thing left holding up her authority was her own stubbornness. Mrs. Thompson, making me coffee while I ran heating lines under her house, let slip that Darla was broke, fired from her county job house on the verge of foreclosure. That explained a lot, her desperation, her need to control something, anything. But watching her drive by over and over, peering through binoculars, surveilling my work like she was running some private investigation. The woman was unraveling and the whole neighborhood could see it. The twist came when Darla called the electric company, posing as the North Haven Forest Environmental Committee, claiming my tub was interfering with Wi-Fi and destroying the ecosystem, so they cut my power. In the middle of a Minnesota winter, that's not just harassment, that's dangerous. People die from cold out here. I marched through the snow to her house, icicles hanging from my beard, and told her to call them back and fix it. She just smiled smug in her bathrobe, telling me maybe I should have thought about community impact first. But right then, Troy Halbrook, who'd been recording from the pine trees, he'd been another victim of Darla's HOA madness, stepped out and played the call for me, every manipulative word. She'd impersonated an official, committed fraud, finally crossed a line even the law would care about. With Troy's evidence, I got my power restored and started digging into public records. Turns out Darla's house was 3 months behind on the mortgage lien stacked up the bank, about ready to pounce. I made a quick call to Dave at the local bank, didn't mention names, just talked hypotheticals about buying a distressed property. Within days, I was in line to buy her place outright. Cash talks, especially when the alternative is a long, messy foreclosure. All the while, Darla's outside my ranch with a stop steam pollution sign, red coat flapping, yelling at passing cars. It became a local attraction. People stopped by just to watch her protest. When Dave called to say she'd accepted the offer, sight unseen, desperate just to get out, I knew the end was near. Darla never even realized who the buyer was, too blinded by her vendetta, too wrapped up in her own crusade. She called a special HOA meeting to denounce me, one last shot at shaming the hot tub guy, not knowing the punchline was coming. I made my own sign. Welcome to the North Haven Sauna Collective. Future owner requests permission to speak. Walked in right as she was in full rant mode about steam pollution, held up the sign and announced to the packed room that I'd purchased her house and was turning it into a free sauna for the community. You should have seen her face, went from red to white to purple in seconds. She started screaming, "This is illegal, I'm the law here. You all have to obey me." Complete meltdown. The mask finally dropped, and for the first time everyone saw the real Darla. Just a lonely, desperate person lashing out because she couldn't control her neighbors anymore. People started laughing, some offered to help with the sauna, and just like that, the spell was broken. Darla signed the house over, barely said a word except a short apology over the phone. The day before closing, said she was moving to Florida to live with her sister, start over somewhere warmer. I wished her luck. Then the real fun started. Mrs. Jenkins put together a volunteer schedule. Robert donated lumber. Even Mitch showed up to help with wiring. We ripped out the old carpet, put in cedar benches, built a proper finished sauna, and a cold plunge out back. By February, the North Haven Sauna Collective was open free to anyone who wanted to escape the cold, talk with their neighbors, just be part of something that wasn't about fear or rules or fines. No membership, no regulations, just good people, good heat, and plenty of laughter. 6 months later, I'm soaking in that original hot tub steam, curling into the starlit sky, listening to the voices drifting from the old Wexley house turned sauna, neighbors, talking, kids laughing, the community finally breathing easy again. The barn's now my workshop business is booming, and every holiday I get a card from Darla in Florida. Short, polite, sometimes even kind. Who knows, maybe everyone can change. As I watch the steam from my tub rise into the winter night, I can't help but think sometimes the best revenge isn't winning the fight, but building something so good no one remembers the fight at all. That's what real community is. So tell me, was I right to stand my ground? Would you have done the same? Or is there such a thing as going too far for your own peace? Drop a comment, join the sauna revolution, and let's see who's really running the neighborhood now.